Coming to you live Monday night, 6:30. Sage, I didn't even know we were going to do this, but it's been 8 days. Figure we had to give the people a show, man. We got to stay a little bit consistent here.
I mean, we're a Bay Area sports podcast. There's news coming out every day, and we haven't dropped anything. We had to come to it, man. We had to save the day. See all these other reporters, all these other social media content creators coming out there giving out some bullshit. We got to come, set the people straight, let them know it's real.
Sage, it's not for lack of trying. We tried to go out NBA All-Star Weekend, do some street interviews, but
I wasn't gonna bring this up. I didn't want to.
I'm not gonna lie. This is on me, guys. This is on me. I'm a little technologically challenged. Couldn't get the camera and the audio to work. So, but we found out a different camera that's gonna be able to work. So we're gonna be coming at you with some more TikTok street interview kind of content. But yeah, we kind of dropped the ball this weekend. But that's why we're gonna do a recording today. Just really to give a couple updates on what's been going on with the Niners. Football just ended last week, but me and Sage brought it up a little bit on the Super Bowl recap. So, Sage, on the morning of the Super Bowl, just complete media dump right here. Adam Schefter comes out with a report that Deebo Samuel requested a trade from the 49ers. 49ers right away give comment like, hey, we've given Deebo, we've given his agent the rope to try to go find a deal for him to get traded. So I don't know, Sage. We've seen this before where Deebo Samuel's requested a trade from the 49ers. He ended up staying, but it seems like this is different. It seems like Deebo Samuel's gone and that we've seen the last of Deebo Samuel in a 49er jersey.
I mean, it seems like if they don't trade him, they're going to cut him. And it seems like it's a year too late, but good riddance. I mean, if you could get any value for this guy at this point, it's positive. So if it's the last snap he played in that Week 18 game, then it's the last snap he played in a Week 18 game. I have no hard feelings. Thank you for what you did, but you just don't fit the current state of the 49ers. So good riddance to you.
So this is what I got right here, Sage. So if they trade Deebo before June 1st, they would still absorb a $31.55 million dead money cap hit, $11 million of that this year, $20 million in 2026, or no. So that's the situation if they release him or trade him. And then if they don't do anything before March 22nd, he gets a $15 million signing bonus. So if something's going to happen, it's going to happen relatively soon. It's going to happen within the month because there's no way in hell the 49ers are going to pay him a $16 million bonus just to trade him a month later. So it seems like Deebo's gone before the draft and everything.
Well, you want to get him gone before the draft. You're all in on this year. Whatever you recoup, you want to use it this year, whether it's draft capital or just getting him off the book. So I saw you keep him this year, $15 million cap hit. If you keep him this year, fifth highest on the team behind guys like Fred, Kittle, Trent Williams, and Nick Bosa, right? Look at the level of production getting from guys like that versus Deebo. He's gone. The next guy on the list, Charvarius Ward, $12.5 million. He's probably gone, right? You get these guys off the books now. There's word that those guys are going to be gone. Open up some space, spend it in free agency. Go get some O-linemen, go get some D-linemen, whatever you got to do, build the trenches, follow the Eagles mold. But we saw it with the, who was it, where they traded him just too late, or it was Brandon Ayuk last year. That's what I was going to say is they were going to trade him, and it's like, who gives a shit? Like, whatever you trade him for in August, it's not going to help you until 2025. Like, do it before the draft, recoup your assets now, and if you're going to get players back, at least let them get introduced to your system in the offseason. So if you're going to do it, commit to it and get off of it as early as possible. Let the team know you're going in a different direction. And all indications, like you pointed to, are that this guy's not going to be here. So move off of him as soon as possible. As soon as anyone offers you anything, take it. Take it like you're selling grass.
I mean, Sage, it seemed like the entire year that this was going to be where it ended up. You draft Ricky Pearsall. So right when they made that decision by taking a first-round pick on a wide receiver, you knew that it was either Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel who was going to be gone. Then they signed Brandon Ayuk to a big deal. So you're like, okay, Deebo Samuel is going to be the one to leave. The entire year, I mean, we know Shanahan and Lynch in the press conferences, they don't really like to give away too much information, but then he gets in a fight with Jake Moody and Tabor Pepper. And then I think really when we realized that it was done and it was like everybody was on the Deebo out train was before that Thursday night football game against the Rams. He goes off on Twitter. Everybody's criticizing him, talk about how shitty of a year he had. He said, it's not me, I just don't get the ball. Shanahan feeds him the ball, what would you say, Sage? Maybe 5 times on the opening drive. Tries to get him the ball.
With the spoon.
tries to get him the ball the entire game. He can't do a damn thing. Drops the pass that honestly could have won the 49ers the game. It was like a 10-yard out where if he catches it, he goes to the house. And yeah, it was probably the worst game of Deebo Samuel's career. Got booed by the home crowd. Didn't do anything really that special the last 4 games of the season. Then it comes out that he's requesting a trade. Super Bowl weekend, he's wearing an Eagles jersey. So I think I'm on the same. Yeah, I think I'm on the same boat as all 49ers fan where it's like, good riddance, man. Good riddance. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. The production's clearly dropped. We're paying him. Sage, this guy's making more money than Justin Jefferson. And we have Brandon Ayuk. We have Ricky Pearsall. I'm not tripping on the Niners wide receiver room and Deebo Samuel. If he really wants to go, go. I don't even care.
No, it's literally good riddance. Like, I don't know what you add to this team at this point. The role you have on this team is punt returner and basically third string running back, which are meant to be by explosive young guys. You're neither. You're slow, you're older, and you're injury prone now. So there's an abundance of picks out there that we have. There's an abundance of players who fill the role. And it's the most replaceable role, I think, in the NFL at this point, right? You see guys.
There's so many wide receivers out there.
Yeah, you see guys all over the league making impacts in key spots. I mean, goddamn, you saw the Eagles. They have Jahan Dotson making big plays in the Super Bowl. They got him for free like 2 weeks before the season start. There's guys everywhere. Guys like the guy on the Bills, Khalil Shakir. Guys like that, making impact. They're not big names. They just work. They fit your system. Deebo was a Jimmy player, right? A guy you could get short yardage, 5 yards across the line of scrimmage as deep as you want, and then mainly in the backfield or behind the line of scrimmage. That's where you want to work him. That's where you want to get him the ball. Brock, who's he excelling with, right? Guys like Juwan Jennings, guys who could make catches, guys you could give them a shot down the field. They're going to make a play. Those are guys you got to chase after for Purdy. Like, I wouldn't mind paying Deebo if he was T. Higgins, right? Like, he was a big receiver, who could make catches.
You can't run a route. He can't run a route. We've seen
his route tree is this.
Tape. Yeah.
It's not a tree. It's a route line because he can only go straight. He can't cut. It's the Stephen A. Smith with Kwame Brown. No footwork, no passion, no aggression, whatever it is.
Like, no post moves. He has no post moves whatsoever. Yeah.
Bona fide scrub at this point in his career. And it sucks because, like, Chase, we were Deebo guys. Like, we love this guy. We grew up with him, right? Like, he was
my favorite player on the Niners his rookie year. He was my favorite player.
Then the holdout to start. Second time he's requested a trade. The first time he had leverage. This time he has zero leverage. Celebrating with the Eagles, wearing an Eagles jersey after last year. You go in there and you do the, what was it? Not the walk in your trap, take over your trap, whatever. Oh, the get back a motherfucker. That's what you did, right? After beating the Eagles and now you're celebrating with them. Peace out, bro. Thank you for your tenure.
Sage, did you see where he was FaceTiming AJ Brown right after they won and he was in the locker room? And he was like IG live streaming it. Well, who the fuck are you, Deebo? I mean, think about all the people that AJ Brown has in his life. He's literally celebrating with his teammates. The audacity to be like 2 minutes after they win a Super Bowl to FaceTime and be like, oh, AJ definitely wants to talk with me. AJ Brown didn't even really say anything. He's like, oh, what's up, Deebo? And like Deebo's like, yo, I just want to say congratulations, man. I don't know.
He's trying to make it about him.
He's trying to make it about him. He's got the cleats and combo stuff.
Cleats and combos, yeah.
No, I swear to God. I mean, after he had that big year in 2021 where, let's be honest, Sage, he kind of led us. He did put us on his back through that entire playoff run. But ever since then, he's been acting like he's that player with outperforming like that. I think he had 800 yards, 3 touchdowns last year, and we're going to be looking to trade him, Sage. I don't know what we're going to get back. So last year, Brandon Ayuk was commanding around a first-round pick. There's a lot of reports right now that he's not even going to be worth a 5th-round pick. They were thinking maybe a 3rd-round pick, but everything's pointing to the fact that you're going to maybe get a late-round pick for Deebo Samuel. So I honestly don't see a team that works. I mean, you could say the Commanders. The Steelers always feel like they're one little move away from being a contender to only get bounced in the wild card. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of suitors. I think we're just going to end up cutting him, to be honest.
I feel like he's going to be a Cowboy. That's kind of my prediction. It seems like that's a Jerry Jones move.
That would be a Jerry move.
Yeah. Bringing a wash Deebo after what he did to them in the playoffs like a few years back and a few years before that. But they could trade him in the division. I'm that unmoved by it. He could be a Seahawk. I'm not moved by it, right? Like, it's kind of funny because when the Warriors, to make the cross-sport reference, When they were going to trade Draymond, I'm like, listen, for what Draymond's getting paid, he's not worth it. But I'd be scared if they trade him to the Lakers. Like, I'd be scared if they trade him to the Suns. Like, I don't want him to go
100%.
I don't want him to go to a competitor. It would rub me the wrong way, and I'd be a little nervous. They could trade this guy to the Chiefs, and I wouldn't really even be that scared. It's like you'd almost prefer he gets the ball than like a Xavier Worthy or whatever's left of Rashee Rice after he's done rehabbing and gets through his jail sentence. Like, there's guys out there that you can get for a fourth of the price that will have as much or if not more impact. So no matter where he goes, like I was going to ask you, but it seems like we'd be lucky to get a day 3 pick for this guy or an early day 3 pick. And I was going to make the point, like, be like the Patriots where it's like move off of him before it's too late. It's already too late. So
it's already too late. We missed our window.
Whatever you could recoup is better than what you'd spend on him. So just go for it and just move on and close the book on the Deebo Samuel chapter.
If anything, maybe, like I said, you got Adam Peters in Washington. Maybe Adam Peters maybe he's a big time Deebo Samuel fan and he has that connection with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. And he's like, hey, I'll give you a 5th. Just give us Deebo. But then you think about it and it's like, am I really going to give up a 5th round pick and pay Deebo Samuel $20 million when he's not worth it? Like, that just sounds
you might have to attach an asset to get someone to take the contract.
It sounds like a shit deal to me. I mean, I think maybe you could probably convince me that somebody's going to believe that the old Deebo Samuel's in there, but he came into the training camp this year. Everybody was saying it was the best shape he's ever been in. Now you're getting reports that he was 20 pounds overweight during the season. What is it? Sage, I think he's just not that good. I think he lost a step. You're getting the reports that he wasn't in his best shape. Start of the year, they're saying that he's never looked better. So I think it's just simple. I just think that Deebo Samuel is not the same guy. And that's just kind of the reality.
100%. He's aged in dog years.
He has. So, I mean, that's really it, Sage. What else can we say? Deebo wants to leave. We're going to probably get rid of him. We're either going to release him or we're going to trade him and we're not going to get back that much. So, in all honesty,
there's better moves to make out there.
Kind of a sad ending for Deebo, man. I mean, you think about that Cowboy or that 2021 playoff run, the play that he had against the Cowboys, that big touchdown that he had against the Rams in the NFC Championship. We had a lot of memories with Deebo Samuel, and it did not end well, man. It did not end well at all.
It's like on a birthday, you say, like, to many more memories to come. Like, I'm excited to cheers to no more memories to come with Deebo. Like, get out of here, and we'll never think about you again, brother.
So, not that much excitement with Deebo Samuel, but Sage, we do have some rumors coming in about the 49ers. They have $43 million in cap space, so they can make something happen this offseason, get somebody to help out that defense that I think it was about 27th in the league. They fired their D coordinator. They need to make something. They need to make something happen. I mean, we had fucking Devondre Campbell rolling out at linebacker. We had a defensive line that just got shredded outside of Nick Bosa. So they need to make something happen. A lot of the rumors have been coming around that D-line, that edge rusher position outside of Nick Bosa. I don't know where you want to start with this, Sage, because we have Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett, and Maxx Crosby. Which one really stood out to you as something that potentially could happen?
To be 100% honest, I don't think Myles Garrett or Maxx Crosby is reasonable. I mean, are they worth the 11th pick, right? You got to start there because that's what they're going to want. The Browns could get a first-round pick for Myles Garrett. They're not going to settle for anything less than that. If like a team who's a competitor and, you know, he fits the window for these competitors, like these teams whose Super Bowl windows close, like the Lions, you're picking at 27. Would you rather have the 27th best player in this draft or Myles Garrett? And you know the Browns would do it if they're going to trade him. And that's the big if they're going to trade him, but the Browns should trade him, right? Start to recoup some assets for this situation you've dug yourself in. So I just don't think it's funny because I'm so 50-50 on it because I'm the guy who bangs the drum that the Niners are starting to lack in young talent, that I say that the Eagles have, that the Chiefs have, that you need to be like competitive because as the season goes along, these old guys get injured. You saw it this year. So it's good to have young talent. But I'm also the guy who says the Niners can't hit a top 15 draft pick like if their life depended on it. So it's like, why not go for a sure thing who meets your timeline? That being said, like Myles Garrett is older. He's always hurt, but he's a Hall of Famer. So if you get what he is and he's going to be motivated, then the risk reward, the reward's worth it almost. So I'm so split down the middle. I just don't think it can happen.
He's the best edge rusher in the league. I mean, I know that everybody loves Nick Bosa, even TJ Watt, but
he's better than
when you see what Myles Garrett does, you're like, this guy's the best dude in the league. So when you just think about it, you're like, oh, you get to pair up Nick Bosa with Myles Garrett. This sounds great, but Sage, I kind of labeled these teams here when it comes to Myles Garrett. The Commanders, who have the most cap space in the league, have picks galore to give away. The Buffalo Bills, who are basically one piece away.
Yeah, Bills.
The Lions and the Chargers. If you want to reasonably make a deal with the Browns for Myles Garrett, you're going to get your pants pulled down because these teams are going to be willing to offer probably 2 first-round picks, maybe even a second-round pick. And Sage, we always get back to this. You think about it, you're like, okay, it's perfect. Let's just trade away the 11th pick, maybe a couple second-rounders for Myles Garrett. You also got to pay him $25-30 million. So when I look at making a big splash move for another D lineman, you're already paying Nick Bosa $35 million. Sage, there's so many other things that the Niners have to hit. Like, we legit don't have an interior D-line. We have Malik Collins and fucking Jordan Elliott or Kevin Givens right now. I don't even know which one is on the books.
Yeah, I know, but that if you just have your edge that solidified with 2 top 5 guys, like, does it even matter? Like,
Sage, we have so many contracts that we have to, like, think about, though. You're going to pay Brock Purdy. I mean, we've been saying it. It hasn't happened officially yet, but you're going to be paying
It'll
Brock
happen in
Purdy.
that opening week.
You got Brandon Ayuk, Bosa, Warner. You're paying Trent Million $35 million. You're paying McCaffrey $25 million. I just think that if you're living in a fantasy world, yeah, it's perfect. Let's just put Myles Garrett on there. But you got to think down the road, there's going to be so many different positions that the 49ers have to pay. We need to spread out the talent, man. You saw when we got injured, we have no depth. You got to, instead of getting one guy like Myles Garrett on that D-line, you got to get like 3 to 4 guys. You got to build up a rotation. You got to really solidify that interior D-line. So it sounds great, but, dude, there's just so many more issues with the 49ers that giving up the draft picks and the capital sound like a bad idea to me, personally.
The tough part about having a rotation of guys is you basically have to have guaranteed like 3 or 4 of them are on rookie deals or just young studs. Like the Eagles this year. You have Josh Sweat, you have Brandon Graham, but you also have the 2 Georgia guys, and they had that rookie D end or that second year D end. Like, you need guys like that. Like, you look at the Chiefs, they have a rotation of guys. Like, they had Omenihu, they had Chris Jones, but they also had guys like Karlaftis. They had young guys, right? Young guys you could supplement. The 49ers missed. Like, they had Drake Jackson, who they drafted. They paid the big bucks to Javon Hargrave, and they kind of dug themselves in a hole. So the only way you're really going to build, like, a platoon of D linemen is if you draft 2 or 3 and you hit on them, which I just don't have the faith that they're going to do that. Like, so you could say that it's nice, but it's easier said than done. Like, they've tried to do that the past 3 years. It's failed. Drake Jackson, all these guys like that they tried to bring
Javon Kinlaw was fighting Grant Cohn within 10 games of him being a 49er. That was like the biggest mistake. Yeah. And your first pick in the entire regime, Solomon Thomas. You picked Solomon Thomas. You didn't even consider getting Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson. You were locked in on Solomon Thomas, and I don't even know if he's in the league. I think he is, maybe on the Jets, but
he's a free agent.
You whiffed a couple times major on D-line, so I get it.
That's why it makes me scared, too, where I'm like, damn, maybe I would just trade the pick because, like, imagine they draft, like, 11, they take a D tackle, they take that kid from Michigan, and he ends up just being a bust, and you're just like, shit. Like, we could have had Myles Garrett, So hindsight's always, 2020, but in the moment, I just wouldn't do it. I have faith that they're going to hit on this, that they're going to make something happen. And that being said, I don't even know if the 11th pick alone does it. They'd probably want more. I mean, like we said, the guy's the best DN in the league. He's a Hall of Famer, and you got to pay him. So I just don't think it's realistic. I think the more realistic one that moves the needle is Maxx Crosby.
Hold on, Sage. 1 second. I had to bring this up because you're a LeBron guy. Did you hear about LeBron? Did you hear about LeBron's interaction with Myles Garrett?
No, we could talk about this in the All-Star game, but go for it.
No. This is with Myles Garrett. So Myles Garrett goes on ESPN with Greeny, and he says, Mike Greenberg's basically like, you've been a Cleveland Brown your entire life. You love the city of Cleveland. You've done so much. Like, what really made you want to get a trade? And he said, in all honesty, I want to win, but what really solidified it for me is when I called LeBron, talked with him, and then it made me realize that I have to go somewhere else. So LeBron with Cleveland is basically like that toxic ex-girlfriend. Like, you're in love, she breaks up with you, she comes back, wins you the first championship in about 60 years, leaves you again, you get a new girlfriend. the girlfriend that you maybe love as much as her, and then she convinces that girlfriend to leave you too. So
it'd be like if Montana called Steph after winning that first finals, like, dude, you got to try some new water. Like, there's better things out there. It's
like LeBron,
we
leave
love
Cleveland alone. Like, you've already done so much emotional damage to them, just like playing with their hearts. Like, you don't convince Myles Garrett to get the fuck out of Cleveland.
I don't think that whatever LeBron does could even make 1/10% of the damage that Deshaun Watson and that ownership has done to the fan base. Like, it's just a lost situation, man. Like, that was a top 3 defense, like a promising young offense, and just like that, like, it all just goes away. It's crazy how fast it comes in this league.
To be fair, Cleveland has to expect that. Cleveland, like, even if they have a good team for a couple of years, they have to expect, like, at any point, this could just completely collapse. And that's what happened. I mean, you traded Baker Mayfield for Deshaun Watson.
The big show.
We haven't dived into it on the podcast, but that has to be the worst trade in NFL history. That has to. But
I mean, not even even if you got nothing back. Yeah, we could move on.
Yeah, I mean, so Cleveland basically is in the dumps, but like you said, you think that Maxx Crosby is going to be the better signing. Did you see the tweet that he sent out this weekend?
It had nothing to do with the Niners, though.
I know, but a lot of people are saying. I mean, he said, I spent 48 hours in the Bay, and I don't know, probably went on like a 2-3 paragraph rant about how much he loves the Bay. Can't wait till he gets back here.
Also,
special bond with San Francisco, Alameda, Oakland. He literally included the entire Bay. So I think there may be a little smoke there, Sage. I'm telling you.
Newsflash. Okay, where there's smoke, there's fire. I agree. But newsflash, he has to get traded. Pete Carroll's not going to trade him to the Niners. And 3, Santa Clara is not in the Bay Area. I mean, it's the closest team we have to the Bay Area, but it's not the Bay Area. So we could take a step back. Clearly, he was talking about the All-Star events, going back to Oracle, being in Oakland, and just kind of being around that atmosphere around the Oakland fans, and kind of just going to areas where he used to play in. That's what he's talking about. To the player and what this means for the Niners. If you can get him, and if you can get him for less than a first-round pick this year, go all in. Go all in. He's a high motor guy. He brings everything you need in this team. Everything that Nick Bosa lacks, Maxx Crosby is, right? Like, he's
clutch. Hold on there. Hold on.
Well,
you taking shots at Nick Bosa right now?
I'm not taking shots, but I'm just saying what's true, right? Like, Nick Bosa, I love the guy. I think he's a great DN. I think he's better than Maxx Crosby. People are saying Crosby's better, but Crosby plays 98% of the snaps. Never really hurt. Plays through a lot of injury, and he's always out there for his teammates. I think Bosa's good, but whether it's the Niners or him.
Are you questioning Nick Bosa and his commitment to his teammates and to the 49ers? Is that what's going on?
Not what I'm doing at all. I'm saying, but like, look at his snap count. I think he plays 62% of defensive snaps. I think Maxx Crosby plays like 98% of defensive snaps. It's something crazy.
Yeah, I don't think that's good. I think that's just on the Raiders, like malpractice, just using him way too much. I don't think any person on the D-line should be playing 98% of the snaps.
But it just shows you he can do it, and he's durable, and he's always out there. Like, it's not a bad thing.
I fucking love Maxx Crosby. He's a dog.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you.
So, and I think he brings like a motor, and him and Bosa would be, they're friends. They hang out in the offseason. They go to Trump rallies together. I think that they'd motivate each other. So, I think they'd motivate each other. I think that they'd, like, up each other up. Like, they'd make each other better just by, sharing the gravity of, you're going to have to double one, and then the other one's on solo, and it's not like you could, stay with it consistent. If you don't have a stud right tackle, a stud left tackle, you're screwed. Like,
or you could just run up the middle, or you could just run up the middle on Kevin Givens and Malik Collins because they're Swiss cheese. That's the entire point.
Chase, but the thing is, that's what I'm saying, is you don't trade your first round pick, then you draft the D tackle.
Okay, but this is the thing. You're gonna have to trade your first round pick. So
I don't know.
That's it.
Dumb organizations do dumb things. Like the Raiders wouldn't surprise me. They traded Randy Moss for a 5th round pick in his prime.
It's funny with Maxx Crosby though, because he always comes out. He's like, I'm a Raider for life. Like, there's no place I'd rather be. And then 5 days later, it's like reports Maxx Crosby loves Las Vegas, loves being a Raider, but wants to be on a winning team. So
it's as soon as they traded your boy Pierce. They let your boy Pierce go, and he's gone too.
So I respect it because he's trying to play the cards that he's a Raider for life, but he's also sending kind of messages that he wants to get the fuck away from there because he knows he's never going to win. When it comes to him being on the 49ers, if you have to give up a 1st and a 2nd round pick, you're going to have to pay him $25 million a year too. I love the player, but it comes down to this, Age. You need way more than one guy on that D-line. And the Niners already have so many big contracts on the books that I just don't think you could afford to have another 25 mil a year a guy on that D-line and give up a couple picks while doing it. So I love Maxx Crosby. He's a dog. Like you said, him and Bosa would be a match made in heaven. But the Niners have cap issues, and they're going to come to roost at some point if you make a move for Maxx Crosby.
I just think it's one of those things where it's like you understand what your window is. You're going to pay Purdy. You're going all in on this year and potentially next year. Just go all in then. No half measures. Like, just go all in. I don't care if 2027, 2028 is hell. Like, it's not bad. It's not a bad position in the NFL to be in hell, where it's like you can't pull yourself out of it. Teams, it turns over quick. If you get the right guy in the top 5, like, go all in. These windows don't come frequently. And when you have it, you just have to go for it. Like, these guys aren't getting any younger. So while you have these studs, while you have this talent, like, what's holding you back? Just go for it at this point. But like I said, I don't want to trade the 11th pick. Like, give them like 6 second-round picks. I don't care what it is, but like, if you can keep that, try to. I don't think he's worth a first-round pick. Like, I really don't. Is he that good?
Maxx Crosby?
He had like 7 sacks last year. Like he's good. I think he's a bigger name.
I think he's a 5-time Pro Bowler. I would give him the credit.
Dude, the Pro Bowl means absolutely nothing to me. Nothing.
But I'm saying he's one of the best at his position year in, year out. Clear locker room guy. He's a leader of that Raiders team. I think that he's a home run. Yeah, I think he's definitely worth a first-round pick. But just in the Niners situation, you already have too little to give. So I just think that there's so many other positions we have to hit that it's not worth it. But if I'm a Detroit Lions, fuck yeah. I'm giving up a first-round pick for Maxx Crosby. I think he's worth that. But Sage, I think the most realistic one, Joey Bosa. So I think that Mama Bear. So Mama Bosa tweeted out that Mama Bear. You got smaller bear, big bear, Mama Bear. So I think she posted on Instagram a picture of Joey Bosa and Nick Bosa together in a 49ers jersey and dropped a question mark emoji. So she started it up. The situation with Joey Bosa is that he's still technically under contract, but he's set to make $36 million next season. Honestly, didn't have that great of a year, so the Chargers can create about $25 million in cap space if they release him, and it looks like they're going to do that, Sage. So it's going to look like they're going to release him. He's had some injury issues in the past, but would you, if the Chargers release Joey Bosa, team him up with his brother Nick to try and make something happen?
So what would the price be for the Niners? I was trying to see this because it's better than nothing, but then it's another old injured guy who always gets injured, who's already coming in injured. So what I wanted, if you're giving up a lot, no, like obviously not. But if the price is right, like you get him for a cheap contract, I don't know what it is after you get cut. You're not going to have to trade for him. So you're not giving up any assets. He's just going to be a hit on your cap. Go for it. He's a stud. He's still good. Like, he's serviceable. And if you're the Niners, you're going to play him with your brother. Like I said, same thing with Crosby. They're going to motivate each other. They're going to do their little camp together. They're going to get each other better. And you're kind of accepting a guy who you know is limited. You did it with Dee Ford. You kind of restricted him. And then in the playoffs, you let him, break loose. And he kind of took over in that playoffs, was really an impact player. Kind of a similar situation. You try and get through the offseason. What? Are you giving me a look? He was. I
don't remember Dee Ford being some big guy that
he wasn't, but that front
part
four.
Of the playoff run. Dee Ford was one of the worst contracts that I can remember.
It was a bad contract, but in the playoffs when he was healthy, it looked good. Like that 3-game stretch, it looked good. I'm just saying, like, you could just try with how easy the schedule is. You could really, load manage him, give him the Joel Embiid, only play him in the big spots, keep him fresh. You don't have to play him 90% of the snaps, 60%. You don't even have to play him 40%. Give him his snaps, let him get out there, but keep him healthy for the playoffs when you make your run. With this schedule and with how loaded this team's going to be if they're healthy, there's no reason that you should be fighting to get in the playoffs or fighting for seeding.
Stage, this is the NFL, though. You can't load manage people in the NFL. You can't be like, hey, we're only going to give you 20 snaps a day. We're going up against Carolina. It's not how it works, dude. You're fucking fighting for your life. This is like
the Chiefs did it with Kelsey.
Gladiators going at it. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna give it a 6 today out of 10. You can't do that.
No, it's just the snap count. Like the snap count, I'm saying. Like you could manage him a bit like you do with the other Bosa. It's not like you have to have him out there every snap. I think D-line's the one position you could do it. It's that and receiver is the only one.
Even that if they did
it's not
do that
Shanahan's DNA to do it.
That's what I was gonna say. Kyle Shanahan. We saw what happened when Christian McCaffrey came back. You thought he was maybe going to load manage him into it. Gave him, I think, 25 touches the first game. So I don't think that like you said, it's in Kyle Shanahan's DNA to be like, hey, Joey, we know that you got injured a lot in 2022, 2023. We're only going to give you about 60% of the snaps here. So, but Sage, that is kind of the issue with Joey Bosa. So in 2022, 5 games played.
It's the only issue.
2023, 9 games played. We just brought up how the Pro Bowl doesn't mean shit. Sage, he was a Pro Bowler this year. Did you know that?
I did not know that. But yeah, alternate
He
probably.
was a Pro Bowler. He had 5 sacks. How many tackles do you think that Joey Bosa had this year? 14 games played.
17 as a DN.
You looked this up before.
Yeah, obviously. I knew we were going to talk about it.
I was about to say. I'm like, there's no way out of nowhere you're pulling a 17.
Guys, I do some prep, brother. Like, what the fuck? I'm not going to have the guy's stats
Yeah.
when I know we're talking about him.
You're not going to just have your dick in your hand when you're trying to go up against me in this debate right here. But, yeah, so he had 17 tackles, 5 sacks. That's not that impressive. I don't know how that's a Pro Bowl season, but I was going to say maybe you get a discount. A guy's trying to prove a point that he's trying to fight for a big contract, but that's going to be hard to do when he has his younger brother playing on the same team and he's making $40 million a year. So I don't think he's going to be a guy to be like, hey, my younger brother's getting paid $40 million. I'm going to take a pay cut, take $10 million a year, go to the 49ers. That's not how I would do it if I had a younger brother making that kind of money. But that's just me.
They seem really close to the point where I actually don't think. I think they're just happy for one another. I don't think they have any, like, they're both in the NFL. We can't really relate to this. Like, we have our rivalries, but it's like if you and your best friend who you compete with, it'd be like if me and you are competing with each other, it's like one day we both get signed to like the biggest network. And we're just like, you know what? We both made it. Screw it. Like,
Sage, if you made $40 million, I would not accept $10 million to fucking do a show with you. That's for damn sure.
All right.
That's for damn sure. You can say that right now, but that's just me, dude. That's just me.
Go draft.
I got to get my paper, dude.
But I think this one's the most realistic, and I actually think if I had to bet, it's going to happen. Truthfully.
Do we believe in Mama Bear? Do we believe in Mama Bear sending out those?
She's stealing the light from Donna Kelsey. She wants to be the NFL mom now that Travis and Jason are both going to be gone from the league.
I think so. I think Travis Kelce's about to retire, but we'll see. I think that I also agree with you, Sage. I think that's the most likely to happen. I'd be shocked if they made a big trade for Maxx Crosby or Myles Garrett. I think the Niners know that they got some big contracts coming up on the books over the next couple years. They gotta do it through the draft. I mean, like you brought up, kind of use that Eagles blueprint, Howie Roseman, just hit on your picks in the draft, and that's the way that you got to do it. But say, should we get to a little bit of All-Star Weekend recap?
We got to talk about it while it's hot.
Yeah, we got to talk about it while it's hot. I mean, I don't know how excited people were in the Bay Area for this, but All-Star Weekend has basically been the worst product on TV the past, I would say, about 10 years in sports. But
okay, hot take. And it's so funny. We literally just had this debate, and me and you were on opposite sides of the spectrum. But I think it's better than the NFL Pro Bowl.
Okay, but that's not really saying much. The Pro Bowl shit too.
Yeah, the dodgeball. We never even followed up. We made that bet on who would win the dodgeball, and we never even. I don't even know who won, and we made a bet on it. Like,
who do you say would be your number one pick in dodgeball? You had some crazy picks.
Zay Flowers. I said Zay Flowers.
That was wild. That was wild analysis. I don't know if you're getting paid $40 million a year for that kind of analysis, Sage. I'll be honest.
Didn't even show up.
I don't know if that's in your future, but yeah,
you know who won it?
The Pro Bowl shit. The Pro Bowl shit for sure.
Joey Bosa won it.
Joey Bosa won it?
No.
Oh man, that'd be funny. But yeah, Sage. So it was in the Bay Area this weekend. I think I didn't watch 1 second of the All-Star game. I did not watch 1 second. Apparently, Shaq OGs pulled off the W. Baby. Steph Curry got the MVP. So I don't know, Sage. I was watching SNL 50. Did you happen to watch any of the NBA All-Star game?
I watched every second of it.
No
Sunday.
Shit, really? Okay, what did you see? What did you see?
Dude, I thought it was good, man. Like, I don't know what Draymond was on. Like, the people were I get the moral of it, right? Like, his quote was funny. It was like, you have the privilege of watching the U.S. Olympic basketball team go up against the U19 team. He's obviously being sarcastic, but like, it's true.
Yeah.
Like, when I saw Steph Curry hit a 3 over TJD to go to the All-Star game final, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, you had a up and coming team. It was like TJD, Stephon Castle, Asar Thompson, Brandon Podziemski, and then I don't even remember. Like, you have that going up against Steph, Dame, Tatum, KD, and they should have had LeBron, but LeBron wasn't playing, so it was whoever. I don't even know who. Oh, it was Harden. It was Harden. So, like, I get it. Like, that part has to go. The finals was cool. The finals was cool. You had the international guys versus the U.S. guys. But what you don't realize is in these all-star games, if the international guys aren't trying, they're all big men. It's like Giannis, Luka, who wasn't playing, obviously, but like Giannis, Jokic, Alperen Şengün. They gave him Cat. And Steph Curry and Jason Tatum are just flaming hot from three. They put the game away in 10 seconds because it's first to 40, and they start the game 11-0. So the format, I like the vision of it because it seemed like they were trying at first, but the way that they formatted it, it was kind of garbage.
Well, Sage, I'm just so pissed because you have Draymond on TNT, and we're gonna get to all of Draymond's comments. Draymond was saying fucking
he won.
Everything.
He won the weekend.
He was saying everything under the sun. I actually couldn't believe it, but
he was the A block of every show this morning.
Yeah, and they asked Draymond, scale 1 to 10, how interested are you in this? He's like 10 being the best. He said 0. And then it's like, yeah, Draymond, I mean, what the fuck? I can't blame Adam Silver. They line up the East versus the West every year, and no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. It's, like I said, the worst product in sports throughout the entire year. Bill Simmons, Ryan Russillo, all these big NBA media guys don't even go, it's so bad. They literally don't care. And then
stands were empty.
Guys like Draymond, who are a part of this generation that has ruined this game, then had the audacity to blast the NBA for trying out something. It's like, dude, if you just gave a shit, everybody would be in on this game. You have LeBron, Steph going up against the best young guys in the East. Everybody would watch that. I would watch that. But I know every time that I flip on the TV before an All-Star game that no one's going to give a shit. Also, I have a bone to pick. So I think this was my biggest issue the entire weekend. The skills competition. Victor Wembanyama, Chris Paul. What the fuck was that?
I mean, that was hilarious.
Talk about the entire decade. We've all been talking about the NBA. Why are less people watching the NBA? They're in a ratings crisis. The entire year, nobody wants to play. There's load management. They're basically just gearing up for the playoffs, saying this 82-game regular season does not matter. You give the fans a shitty product. The entire regular season is a shitty product. You get pumped up the entire week. Friday night, you got the Nuggets playing the Sixers. Then Jokic and Embiid aren't even playing Friday night. That has happened for the past 5 years. Then you had the skills competition. Victor Wembanyama, a unicorn, probably the most interesting prospect to come in NBA history, decides to not even take a shot in the skills competition just to try to give himself a chance to win the game. What was your take on it? Because I have a lot more to say, but I want to loop you in here.
One, it was $1,000. I would bet my bottom dollar. That was Chris Paul's idea. Chris Paul came up with that. He saw the loophole. And then 2, so Draymond, who was in the competition, did you see this? He said Wemby was going up to all the people officiating it and asking if it was okay. And they looked through the rule book. And they were like, yeah, I guess like you don't technically have to hit the rim. They should have like maybe grabbed it and try and like actually make a shot formation. But I get it. I mean, the team that won, it was the Cavs team. They did 1 minute and 8 seconds. The Spurs, who actually won, did it in 46 seconds because of the strategy that they had. It's a win-at-all-cost league. They tried to win at all costs. I mean, it backfired on them because the NBA realized, like, it's a shitty product, but no one would have talked about the skills challenge. No one would have known who won the skills challenge if it wasn't for this event. So I can't say it was bad for the league to do this. It was the funniest thing to happen the entire weekend. I thought. I mean, when I saw the video, I said I didn't watch Saturday. I mainly watched Sunday. I was dying. I was like, that's the funniest thing. I think I showed it to you, right? I was like, look at what just happened. It circulates. It's a viral clip. It's good for the league, especially because it's Wemby. Like if that was like the Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, it'd be like, fuck these guys. Like, fuck the Cavs. Like, but the fact that it's those two and you know it's Chris Paul pulling the strings, it makes it a little funny.
If you're Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama, what the fuck do you gain from doing that? Okay, you win the skills competition. You beat the second place team by 10 seconds because you were last to go. And you realize, hey, I could just fucking flip it out and not even take a fucking jump shot. What do you realistically gain? And I think that's the entire issue with this NBA generation. They don't give a fuck about the fans. They didn't think for 1 second like, hey, let's just make this an actual competition. Try to give the fans a good product who are here to watch the skills competition. See you could get the W. They don't care. And it's sad, but this is the NBA. This is the NBA that I've grown accustomed to watching the past 10 years. And I agree with you. I think it was Chris Paul. And who'd be surprised? I mean, Chris Paul has been doing this shit ever since he's been in the league. If he wasn't on the Warriors, it took me about, I think, 24 hours when we traded for him last year to come around to the fact that I have to root for Chris Paul now because I couldn't stand his guts the entire time before he became a Warrior.
No, I mean, I agree. Like I said, I think it was 100% his doing. He's definitely the mastermind behind it. He came up with it. And I mean, I can't blame him. They had no shot. Chris can't even run up the court. Like he can't, he's not running a sub 540. The guy's out of shape. He's about to turn 40 in a few months. So he found a loophole. He realized they could win this way and he went for it. I mean, he's always been not across the line, but right on it type of guy. So he had to bring
Chris Paul's a fucking prick. I mean, he hits everybody in the dick as they're trying to drive to the rim or go up for a jumper.
That's where his eyesight is.
Shimmied on Steph in that one game. He's always been an issue, man. Chris Paul has always been an issue, and I can't blame Victor Wembanyama, but I kind of want to. He's French. This is kind of like a French mentality of it, but I can't blame Victor. This is the kind of culture that he grew up in. He's only been in America for about 2 years, so give it some time. But Victor, that was some European bullshit right there. Don't do that. Don't listen to Chris Paul. Just play the fucking competition out. That's all I ask. If you're in a competition and you're one of the 3 teams, just play legit.
No, I mean, all 3. Saturday is usually the better day. I thought it was terrible. Like, I went back and watched, like, McClung winning the dunk contest. He's a G leaguer. And you call him up 3 years in a row just for this because he's like an Instagram clicks, like TikTok phenom, YouTube high school clip, like one of those guys. So you let him do the dunk contest. You have Tyler Hero and Buddy Hield in the 3-point contest. You have like 10 better shooters in the league. Those are your 3-point representatives. It's in the Bay. Like, Steph, come on, man. You got to do it. You did the Sabrina thing last year. You did the 3-point contest the year before. Like, you kind of got to do it. Clay being salty and declining the invitation, even though it's back in San Francisco. Come on, man. Like, there's got to be like more incentive, more pressure on these guys. Like, these things are meant to be sick. Like, it used to be so sick. Like, you can say what you want about the actual game. Chase, we remember when the dunk contest, the 3-point contest, and the skills contests were actually like competitive and people used to actually go for it. Now you have like Mr. Beast being the most talked about event of the weekend with like some like height, like a Twitter troll he found in the stands, beating Damian Lillard in a half-court shootout. Like, that was the highlight of the entire weekend. That's the clip going viral. So, I mean, it's in a bad spot. And I don't know, like, Draymond's complaining about it, but it's like, dude, like, the only reason he's doing this is because your generation of players didn't compete in it. Like, you've made 2 All-Star games. You didn't compete in it. You lollygagged out there. You just jogged your ass around, threw some lobs to Steph, ate some popcorn, and called it a day, and then went on vacation. Like, that's the issue with it. That's why, they're trying to change it. So I can't blame Adam Silver. Like I said, I saw the vision. I liked it, but get the rookies the hell out of there. That I do agree with.
You can't have the All-Star game with some bum-ass rookies who are just playing against. Okay, also,
LeBron is like getting
LeBron. What was that about? 2 hours before the game, gets set up in his press conference, and he's like, "Yeah, so I'm actually going to sit out. Been dealing with some ankle and foot soreness, so yeah, not going to suit up for the All-Star game."
You're a hater, bro. You're just
what the fuck, dude? No, but I'm saying somebody else could have been in there. You could have actually had a guy play on one of those teams.
You know who is next up?
Probably the guy who would make his first All-Star game. Why do you have to wait 2 hours before the fucking game to say something?
That's how I know you're a hater.
Because he wanted to
play. He wanted to play. He just couldn't play.
You're full of shit. You're full of shit, Sage.
Okay.
He knew the entire time he was not going to play. He knew the entire time he was not going to play.
He wanted to play. First of all, do you know who would have taken his spot? Norman Powell. Go cry for Norman Powell to be in the All-Star game. Just like how we complain about the Pro Bowl reserves when it's Mac Jones making it. Go cry that Norman Powell's not an All-Star because he deserves it, quote unquote. Second, when you see Steph pulling up for a half-court shot and they pan it to the bench, I'd rather see LeBron in street clothes than Norman Powell in a West jersey. Second of all. Third, Anthony Edwards did the same thing. He didn't even tell the media he wasn't playing. He just didn't play. He's 22 years old, just didn't play. Not a peep about it. I bet you didn't even know he didn't play. No one knew he didn't play because he just didn't say it. And no one's going to say anything. I bet you, like LeBron, he had the longest streak in NBA history. 20 All-Star game starts. It got snapped. I guarantee you that meant something to him. I think he wanted to play Sunday. He woke up feeling like his leg or his foot, ankle, whatever, was hurting.
What, he stepped on a needle in San Francisco, Sage? What the fuck had happened to your foot or ankle?
I don't know.
A couple days in between your last game that you played for the Lakers
40.
and the All-Star game. What
Chase,
the fuck
40.
could have possibly happened?
Chase, I'm 25. I wake up with a sore back sometimes. I don't know how it happens. Like, the guy's 40 carrying a goddamn league on his shoulders.
We'll leave that for next episode.
carried a league on his shoulders since the time he was 18. Obviously, he's going to wake up with some foot soreness every now and then. Like I said, Anthony Edwards did the same thing. Not one cry like justice for Norman Powell, justice for Norman Powell. Norman Powell deserved it. It's like, dude, get the hell out of here. I'd rather have what you're not going to have LeBron James at All-Star Weekend so Norman Powell can make his first All-Star game. FOH. Seriously, FOH.
If you're Adam Silver, you're just like looking for somebody to step up and be the face of the NBA that you need, especially in an All-Star weekend where no one's giving a shit. Adam Silver's been run through the tracks for 10 years about how bad he's been at managing this All-Star game and managing these players actually giving a shit during these games. Then you have LeBron, who, even though I have my issues with LeBron, he's been the face of the NBA for the past 20 years. Then he comes out 2 hours before the game, says that he's not even going to play. I mean, he makes a complete mockery of the game 2 hours before. So many people probably were just like, oh, LeBron's not even going to fucking play? Why am I even going to care? Why am I even going to care if LeBron doesn't give a shit enough to suit up and at least go out there? I mean, just go out there.
His team still won. They didn't need him.
Run a couple times down the court. That's all you need to do. Instead, he tried to make it about him. No, because LeBron always does this. He always tries to make every situation about him. Everybody's gearing up for the All-Star game. It's to showcase the league, to showcase the young talent, to showcase the new format that you have. LeBron tries to make it all about him 2 hours before the game. What a prick. I cannot stand the guy. And I'm just glad that we didn't trade for him because, like I brought up with CP3, it took me about 24 hours to actually come to grips with the fact that CP3 was going to be a Warrior. I'm just glad I didn't have to do this with LeBron James. Fuck him. That's all I got to say.
That's harsh.
No, I'm fired up, dude. I'm fired up. So, speaking about people,
you're so fired up for a game you didn't even watch. So, yeah, you just wanted to take this fucking 6 minutes to shit on the King. Go for it. Go. Do what you got to do.
Let me have my platform, Sage. Let me do on my platform what I want to do.
The rudest part, we're 10 months away from his 41st birthday, and now you want to bring this up. You're just a hater, bro. Show some respect.
Oh, yeah, and they were trying to force feed the fucking Bronny narrative down my throat the entire year. This is the first time that we're ever going to have a father and son play in the NBA. I can't do it with LeBron anymore. He got Luka to come to the Lakers. I'm just so sick of him. Retire right now.
Let's talk about the real MVP.
I'm a hater. Hold up. So I'm a hater of LeBron James. Sage loves LeBron James. We all know the guy who loves LeBron James probably more than anybody. That's our boy Draymond Green. We brought up already how Draymond was not a fan of the All-Star game format, but he was also saying some crazy shit, Sage. So
he was on one.
I think the craziest one was they were just having a random conversation. I think Candace Parker said, I don't know if I'd ever want to be a coach in the league. You got to deal with all these personalities. And then she kind of just threw out a comment like, imagine Draymond being a coach. And then Draymond goes out and says, I already got offered to be the Warriors head coach after I retire. What? Like, where the fuck did this come from?
He's lying. He's literally lying.
Do you think he's being serious? And
no.
Would Draymond Green be a good head coach?
No, and no. All three are no's. You can't have a guy who's that much of a loose cannon like as your coach. He can't build up young guys. You see what he does to all the young guys. And on top of that, he's going to get thrown out of every game. He's literally like, you see what Kerr is, and Kerr's the most calm and collected guy. You see all these coaches who are calm and collected get thrown out. Draymond would be a nightmare. And you take on the personality of your head coach. So you just have a team of nightmares. And you don't want that in Golden State. Two, you have Kerr. Like, you have Kerr. So you saying that makes me think like Kerr's either gone or Kerr's the guy who offered you the job. And either way, someone's lying. Someone's getting fired because that's just not true. Draymond would be a terrible coach. I get it. He's smart. I'd like him more as like the Stackhouse role, the defensive, like loose cannon on the bench who could kind of get the guys hyped. But as a head coach now, no one would take you seriously. Like it'd be funny, but no one would take you seriously. It'd be like, oh, remember the Draymond Green era for those 2 years when Draymond Green was the head coach? Hey, you're gonna it's gonna be like JJ, like you're gonna podcast and head coach. Like I can't imagine it.
Okay, let me be the devil's advocate here, Sage. I agree with you on the fact that I think that he's blowing smoke up everybody's ass. I don't think that I think maybe Joe Lacob said to him like, oh, Draymond, like maybe after the 2022 championship, Joe Lacob's had some champagne in him and he's saying, Draymond, once you retire, he's like, I love you so much. Like, once you retire, like, I want you to be our coach. I want you to be our coach. I think that's what happened, and Draymond literally took that seriously. He's like, okay, like, I had the offer to be the head coach once I retire. Like I said, though, I'll be the devil's advocate. One of the smartest players in the NBA, even though he makes some of the dumbest passes you'll ever see
he's not one of the smartest
in human
players.
history. He is. I mean, Sage, the way that he runs that defense, he's literally the point guard on the defense. He's a very intelligent basketball player. That's something that you need for an NBA coach. Sage, I have not seen fire on a guy like Draymond ever in basketball. So you got to think that he would be a good guy if you need a motivated team in the NBA. Sage, what's the number one reason that a lot of teams in the NBA struggle now with this current generation of players? Nobody gives a fuck. There's no way in hell that if Draymond Green is the coach of an NBA team, that he's going to allow his players to fuck around and not give a shit. So you lock those two things up, and he's a winner. Sage, he is a bona fide winner. I know that a lot of people say that he just carries the backpack for Steph, but
no, he is the backpack. He is the backpack.
Or he is the backpack. Steph carries him, but he's a champion. He's got the smarts and he's got the energy. So, I mean, if he could find a way,
it doesn't translate.
I don't know, maybe go to therapy 7 days a week and try to stay within himself and not get kicked out of these games, I think it could maybe be a good situation. I'm being serious. I'm kind of pro Draymond potentially being the head coach.
Yeah, congratulations. That's the dumbest thing you've said all day. No chance. No chance it won't happen. I don't think it translates either. Like, who's the most fiery competitor in this league? One of the best basketball minds ever. Failed miserably as a GM. I know it's not the head coach. It's not setting the culture, but it's kind of similar, right? Like, it doesn't always translate perfectly. You know what I mean? Like, it's the guys who don't really do well in the NBA or don't really have any like actual playing experience that are the best coaches in this league. It's guys like Steve Kerr, Spoelstra, Pop, right? Like Phil Jackson, guys like that. Those are the guys like I want coaching my team.
You know what, Sage? You know what I think? I think that you're a bit of a pessimist. I think you're being a bit of a pessimist right now.
I don't trust him.
No, Sage. I think you need to open. I think you need
He's
to
not
open
that
up
smart
the
either.
windows.
He's made some of the dumbest decisions in NBA history. He's cost his team 2 rings. He cannot put his own ego aside. And as a coach, if you do that, your locker room is going to be flames. He literally drove Jordan Poole out of town. He's the reason KD declined to trade and said, I'd rather stay in Phoenix. He's the reason, I guarantee you, he's the reason Klay Thompson didn't want to come back. I get you, Klay Thompson's like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm done with the situation. I need a breath of fresh air. Like, I'm done with just dealing with this guy. He's made Steph cry twice during games. He's made Steph cry. Steph loves him, but secretly Steph motherfucks him. Like, it's just like, this guy has screwed me over time and time again. He's the reason LeBron James is arguably the GOAT. And you could, for as much as you hate LeBron, you have to accept that as well. Because if the Warriors win that 2016 finals, I
will not accept that. That's a bunch of fucking horseshit, but go on.
But I'm just the general public, you know what I mean? He gave LeBron the greatest championship in NBA history, however you want to put it. So he's the reason for a lot, and a lot of bad for the Warriors. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, so a lot of people do blame Draymond for that 2016 NBA Finals where they lost. A lot of people think, hey, if you didn't call KD a bitch and drive him to Brooklyn, they probably win a couple more championships. But Sage, if Draymond is able to win a 5th NBA championship this year, would it make up for it? Because he's on TNT, and they ask him, they say, Jimmy Butler's coming to town. I think you're 3-1 or 4-1 since Jimmy Butler's came in. How do you feel? What do you expect from the Warriors the rest of the way? And he said, I think we're going to win a championship. So I don't know. The thing that he said that really struck me was that before Jimmy got in there, they were probably going into some games thinking, okay, we're going to get beat tonight. We just don't have enough. We're not good enough. And he said now that they have Jimmy Butler, they walk onto the court every single game expecting a win. And he said that's a big thing in the NBA, which it's got to be. 100%. I mean, if you don't have the belief that you could win every single game, there's no way that you're going to go into a 7-game series against an OKC or a Boston and beat them if you don't think that you can beat them. So it seems like he's really confident in what Jimmy Butler's bringing to the Warriors. What do you think about what Draymond had to say about that? Okay,
so guaranteeing the chip, it's funny because he walked it back or he said that he thinks they could compete. Then he walked it back and then he went all the way. He said, you know what? We are going to win the championship. Steph called him out on it. He's like, I got Draymond guaranteeing championships, but I get it. I get where he's coming from. They're going to be an absolute thorn in your ass in the playoffs. You're going to have a crunch time 5 of Steph, Kuminga, Draymond, and Jimmy Butler. I don't know who the 5th's going to be yet. It's probably going to be Pods. I think they're probably going to go small, go back to, what got them there, unless they're playing the Nuggets and you can't do it. But depending on the team, they're probably going to go small, right? The Thunder play small. I guess they got Chet now, but the Thunder are a relatively smaller team. The Lakers now are a small team. The Rockets are a smaller team. So whoever you're playing, you're probably going to try and get them with your small ball. So you have a great small ball five. You have intelligence around the court. Like you said, you got Draymond, who in the league right now, really smart player. Jimmy Butler and him seems like they play really well together. They feed off each other, back doors. It seems like they're on the same page, better than Jimmy and Steph, to be honest, right out the gate. I mean, you see what Jimmy is, right? I think people underrate how great of a playmaker Jimmy Butler is, because instead of passing the ball to Gabe Vincent and Hayward Highsmith, he's passing the ball to Steph Curry, Draymond Green. He's finding these rookies, these role players, and he's able to feed off them. And the Warriors system with all this movement, it plays into a guy like that who sees the court well, is good at making reads. Like, you have those post plays where you get it to Jimmy in the paint, and instead of, having Jonathan Kuminga making those decisions out of the post, you have Jimmy Butler looking for pods on the back screen, looking to see where Steph's flashing. You see where Draymond is on the court, and you could feed off. It's constantly moving. You have guys going to the rim. I mean, against the Rockets, they were smoking a lot. No, who was it they lost to? The Mavs. They were smoking a lot of
Mavericks.
Yeah, the shots were there, though. Like, it was easy shots. Like, that was the thing about the Warriors last year, is like they could score, but all the shots were tough. Like, it was a lot of, contested shots, like not a lot of separations on shots. You see it as soon as you get Jimmy Butler in there. Like, the shots are coming easier. The way that they're moving it, everything comes like, it's easy. You get free buckets, free runners to the basket, lob threats. And this is without Kuminga. So I just think, like, you get this team in a best of 7, like, they can beat anyone. They're like, I see the vision, but it's, for me, more about getting there. Like, you got to get past the 7. Like, you do not want to be a play-in team going back-to-back games, and then you got to go play the Thunder or the Nuggets as the 1 or 2 seed on the road. Like, that's a recipe for failure. Jimmy's done it before, but it's not the West. The West is a whole different animal. So you got to get it. You got to keep winning, go full throttle, get that 6 seed. But I have faith, man. I see the vision.
Sage, I just never got when people said that you got to try to keep Wiggins. You can't make this deal for Jimmy, citing what's been going on with the Miami Heat the past couple weeks. I knew right when you brought him into the situation with Draymond, Steph, proven winners, he was going to fall in line. Also, it's the NBA. If you don't have a clear second option, you ain't going to win shit. And the number one difference that I see with Jimmy on this team, not only the fact that he's a dog and he's clearly brought up the intensity level with the entire team.
Yeah.
Wiggins, his entire career, even in 2022, where that was probably the best that Andrew Wiggins played in his entire career, he was always on and off with his aggression. What I'm seeing with Jimmy right now, he knows when to be aggressive. He knows when, okay, maybe Steph needs to take a breather a little bit. I'm going to take the ball. I'm going to drive to the fucking rack, and if I get fouled, I'm going to go to the line. I'm going to give the rest of the team rest. It just seems like he knows when to take his shots, when to take his opportunities, and like I said in the last podcast, I think this is the first time since we had fucking KD that anybody's had 10 free throws in a game for the Warriors. So not only the intensity factor, but I just think that he meshes so well with Steph and Draymond. And yeah, do I think that they should be favored against OKC? Obviously not. But if you're telling me that you have Steph, Jimmy Butler, late close games, that they can maybe find a way to win a series or upset a team like Denver, who I know they have Nikola Jokic, but all around them, they're struggling. They're injury prone. OKC still a young team without a clear second option. I know a lot of people love Jalen Williams, but I'm not ready to crown him yet. I'm not ready to crown him yet. So I do think that there's a way.
He's taking a major step back this year too.
I do think that there's a way that they can maybe get it done in the West. And the number one thing with this team is that they believe now. And you could clearly see, Sage, they had no energy the entire year. Steph seemed drained, and it just seemed like they were going to walk to a point where they were maybe going to make the play-in and get bounced early. The fact that Draymond's saying this, that they genuinely believe they could beat any team, has me believing, and that's all I need, man. I just need to believe in something. Get me into the fucking tournament and see what can happen. What the fuck? All these fucking Warriors fans, radio show hosts on KNBR 95.7 The Game. Oh, that's not the best value that you could get. You don't want to trade away these young assets for Jimmy Butler. Get the fuck out of here. This is the NBA. You're going to be rolling out maybe 6 or 7 guys in the playoffs. If you give me Jimmy Butler and you have to give away Andrew Wiggins and Dennis Schroeder, fucking give me that.
Yeah, playoff Jimmy, bro. This guy elevates. He's a proven playoff elevator. That was the whole thing about the Luka thing, is like why you had such trouble trading him, is he's a playoff elevator. Like, he comes out to play in the playoffs. He doesn't shy away. Like, that's Jimmy. Jimmy, like, I don't know about now, but 3 years ago, he took this team to a finals. Like, he was a top 3 guy in the playoffs in the entire Eastern Conference. He went head to head with Giannis and outplayed him. He went head to head with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, outplayed them. He went head to head with Nikola Jokic, got, but he got his team there with Gabe Vincent. Tyler Hero was gone. So it was Gabe Vincent, Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, like guys like this. And now the Heat are like the most uninteresting team in the league, right? Like they did him dirty. He wanted out. You get him at a discount because of it. And you get to roll out like the most veteran, the most like playoff savvy, and a decently like big team all in one. So you got to love it. Like you have Jimmy at the 2 now, and you're athletic still, and you can defend. So it's a move in the right direction. You get Houston or you get the Lakers in the first round with the Lakers now without AD, like you can make some noise, but you got to get there is the problem. You got to get out of the play-in.
So Sage, so they're 3.5 games out of the 6th seed right now, which would be the point where they would avoid the play-in tournament. 1.5 games
schedule too.
Yeah, 1.5 games out of the 8th seed, and they're playing Sacramento at Sacramento on Friday. But Sage, they got a pretty easy schedule coming up over the next couple weeks or so. So you got Sacramento, Dallas, Charlotte, at Orlando, at the 76ers, who are a complete dumpster fire. Maybe the worst situation in the entire NBA with what's going on with Paul George and Joel Embiid.
But the
and then
Eagles
you're at Charlotte.
the Sixers aren't. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Oh, my God. I mean, I cannot think of – thank God for Philadelphia sports fans that you had the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, because the Sixers are going to fucking break your heart. I mean, there is just no hope for them. I hope they do make the play-in just so they could give Philadelphia fans a little bit of hope and, I don't know, lose to like the Charlotte Hornets in the 9-10 game. And just so they could be like, okay, yeah, fuck it. Joel Embiid, he's not going to ever get it done. Paul George was a bust. Hey, Warriors fans, just be thankful they didn't pull the trigger on Paul George, because yikes. He looks like 100%. He's done.
And even like with KD, like I think I'd rather have Jimmy the way like I see it, like what he brings, like being able to slow the game down, get to the free throw line. Paul George, not even a question looking at it. I mean, he had a 0-point performance or a 2-point performance on 0 made field goals the other day. Cardio P, whatever, where's Paul though, whatever, all the jokes they write themselves. You want to do it, but I don't know, man. Like just give me anyone, and I need to see what this team looks like with Kuminga, because right now they're missing that athletic wing that he's just going to fill the entire role. A lob threat next to Jimmy who could make those cuts and get to the basket. Like I am so excited for Friday's game. You got the Kings, you got the Mavs, and then it gets really easy after that. So I think like, you could rattle 4 or 5 wins in a row here if you get past the Mavs on Sunday.
Sage, like you brought up, Kuminga's got to take the step up. Also, Steve Kerr, please give him minutes.
Jonathan Kuminga, got to step up,
Please give him minutes. Please give him the opportunity to try to take that next step. It seemed like he was going to do it, got injured, so that kind of sucked. But you get a good couple games after you get Jimmy Butler. Hopefully, Jonathan Kuminga could come in there, continue on that path that he looked like he was going to be on. And if Jonathan Kuminga could become a star over the next couple months, that could be key to the Warriors winning it all. But Sage, anything else from All-Star Weekend? Charles Barkley had a couple comments for San Francisco. Was flipping off the fans.
Walked it back a little, but Chuck's gonna chuck. Shout out to Steph. I mean, I don't want to dive too much into it, but for what it was, like it was fitting. He won the All-Star Game MVP. I don't think it adds to his legacy, but doesn't take away. We're walking away here with something, so I'm proud of it.
I was gonna ask sarcastically, does that lock him up as a top 10 all-time guy now? Two All-Star Game MVPs. People are saying
he is the best All-Star Game player just because of his skill set. I'll say that. Like he doesn't go hard, but he doesn't have to for it to be entertaining. Like he saves it single-handedly, like pulling up from half court, the look away stuff. Like he makes it fun.
I mean, he's the best 3-point shooter of all time. Nobody's playing D. He basically has shoot around threes everywhere. So yeah, this is
he's the best
right now. How the NBA All-Star Game is set up, it is perfectly set up for Steph Curry. But all right, Sandra, I think that's going to be it. We would try to keep it a tight show today. We try to keep it within an hour. We're a little bit over that, but Sage, what do you think, man? When should we come next? I know that there's not a lot of news coming out with the Niners.
Yeah,
and
I think
like we said, the Warriors, their next game's on Friday. I don't expect any big moves from the Niners, so maybe going to come at them next week at some point.
I want to maybe a Saturday or Sunday, we could do a recap of the Dallas Kings game, or Saturday if we want to tap into that Kings game if it's interesting. I don't know. I think it's going to be a Warriors video before it's a Niners video. I don't think Niners. I think the window opens to sign free agents March 1st to March 15th, right? So I think that's when the Niners news will start to break. The trade window will start to open. We'll get into some draft, but I think it's going to move as the Warriors move, man. Like once NBA news happens, like maybe Luka Doncic gets traded again. Who knows? So I think this weekend's a safe bet.
So we may
If not,
come
though,
at you
like,
Sunday.
subscribe. You know what it is.
We may come at you Sunday. We may come at you Monday. Yeah. For all updates, please follow us on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok. Like Sage said, if you're in the stream, if you like what we're doing, like and subscribe. We're going to be coming out with different kind of content. So like we said, we try to do something for All-Star Weekend where we did a little bit of interview, ask the crowd kind of stuff. We're going to be coming out with a lot more content like that. So follow us on all social media platforms. Anything else for the people, Sager?
That's it. You know what to do. Like, subscribe to the stream, share it with your friend, share it with your mom, share it with your dad.
That's going to be it for the stream today. We'll talk to you guys later.